Hope is transgender, but as I've stated many times before, I don't look at someone like that.
Sander, I am super proud of you.
You've seen the headlines. You've heard the rumors. When a celebrity's sibling says they're finally telling the truth, you brace for impact. You expect drama, a feud, a family secret blown wide open for the world to see. It's the rhythm of reality TV, and let's be honest, we have an appetite for the controversy. We've been trained to expect the worst, to watch from the edge of our seats as picture-perfect families unravel under the bright lights of fame. So when Sander Jennings, the athletic, seemingly quiet older brother of the trailblazing activist, Jazz Jennings, promised to reveal the truth about his sister, the world got ready for a scandal. The internet held its collective breath. Comment sections exploded with theories. Was it hidden resentment? A secret conflict from growing up in the shadow of his sister's incredible story? The stage was set for a classic sibling rivalry tell-all. But the truth he shared wasn't about a fight. It was about his own journey. This isn't a story about a family breaking apart. It's the story of how his sister's courage taught him how to fight back and become the ally he was always meant to be. It's a story that's quieter, deeper, and way more important than any drama the tabloids could cook up. And it's not what you think. This is what happens when the cameras stop rolling, when the headlines die down, and a family has to navigate a world that isn't always kind. It's about a brother who watched his sister face down hatred with unbelievable grace, and in doing so found the courage to find his own voice. The truth Sander revealed isn't some dark family secret, but a powerful lesson in love, growth, and what real allyship looks like. To really get Sander's transformation, you have to rewind. Before the show, before the global advocacy, before Jazz Jennings was a household name, they were just a family in Florida trying to figure things out. When Jazz, at a very young age, made it clear that she was a girl despite being assigned male at birth, her parents, Greg and Jeanette, made a decision that would define them, a choice of unconditional love and support. In 2007, when Jazz was just 6, she and her family shared their story nationally, a move that shot them into the public eye. For many people, it was the first time they'd ever heard a transgender child's story told with such openness and love. The world met a bright, articulate little girl and the family who had her back, and right there, in the background of this amazing story, was Sander. Alongside his twin brother Griffin and older sister Ari, he was part of the rock-solid foundation that let Jazz be Jazz. In the early seasons of their show, I Am Jazz, which kicked off in 2015, viewers saw a supportive but quiet older brother. He was the classic big bro, protective, a little goofy, and a dose of normal in a life that was anything but. He was there for all of it, a constant, steady presence. He stood next to her at events. You could see him in the background of interviews. He was part of the united front the Jennings family showed the world. This was the era of the silent ally. No one doubted his support. You could see it in everything he did. He loved his sister, that was obvious. But his own voice, his unique take on the whirlwind of advocacy, media, and public debate that engulfed his family, hadn't really come out yet. Looking back, he's admitted that for a while he was an ally without a voice. He had his sister's back, but he hadn't yet made her cause his own. Think about it from his perspective. As a teenager, you're just trying to figure out who you are. Now imagine doing that while your family is at the very center of a massive cultural conversation. Sander has talked about this time, saying that when he first got to college, he just wanted to fly under the radar. He was protective of his sister, but he was also a young guy dealing with the social pressures of high school and college. He was scared of being judged. He saw the hateful, vicious things people said about Jazz online and in person, and he admits he was afraid of what people would think of him. He was living with the privilege of being a cisgender, heterosexual white man, and while his heart was in the right place, the fear of backlash kept his activism on mute. It's a deeply honest and relatable thing to admit. How many of us have stayed quiet when we should have spoken up, not because we're bad people, but because we're scared? Scared of saying the wrong thing, of drawing negative attention, of rocking the boat. Sander was there, a pillar of support for his family, but the public advocate, the man who would one day use his platform to educate millions, was still waiting in the wings. His support was a given inside the family. But the world, and as he would soon realize, he himself needed something more. His journey from supportive brother to vocal advocate wasn't just about helping Jazz, it was about finding a huge part of himself. There wasn't one big aha moment that instantly turned Sander Jennings from a quiet supporter into a warrior for change. It was more like a slow, gathering storm. It was a gradual awakening, a realization that the love he had for his sister demanded more from him. It demanded action. This turning point was fueled by two things: the nonstop hate aimed at his family and his own journey into adulthood. As Sander went through college and into his 20s, he started seeing the world differently. He wasn't just a kid brother anymore. He was a young man who understood social justice and the responsibility that came with his unique platform. He saw the relentless, ugly wave of bigotry that his family faced every single day. He has talked about the heartbreak of seeing comments that purposely misgender his sister or attack his parents, calling it a painful reminder that there's still so much work to do. For every message of love, there were thousands of hateful ones. People hiding behind screens spewed venom, questioning his family's love, his sister's identity, and even his own sexuality just for being a supportive brother. This wasn't just some political debate. It was a personal attack on the people he loved most. The sheer volume and cruelty of it all started to change something in him. The fear he once felt about being judged was replaced by a righteous anger and a sense of duty. He realized his silence, which came from a desire to avoid drama, was a luxury his sister never had. Jazz had been fighting for her right to simply exist since she was a little girl. She faced down cameras, critics, and bullies with a bravery that was just staggering. Watching her, year after year, live her truth so authentically became a powerful inspiration for him. And then came the truth, the moment that would define this next chapter of his life. In his own videos and posts, Sander started saying what he'd felt for years, but never so publicly. He looked straight into the camera and said, "My sister is my inspiration. Everything I do is driven by what I've learned from watching her." This wasn't some rehearsed PR line. It was a simple, powerful admission. For anyone who had followed the family's journey, it was a huge moment. It wasn't the announcement of a feud or a secret, like the clickbait headlines wanted you to believe. It was a declaration of love and admiration. More than that, it was a declaration of purpose. He was making it clear that his advocacy wasn't a side gig. It was a direct result of being Jazz's brother. Her journey hadn't just been something he supported from the sidelines. It had completely reshaped his own worldview and ignited his own passion for activism. He started to understand the unique power of his own voice. He recognized that for every LGBTQ+ person fighting for their rights, there's a whole network of potential allies, siblings, friends, parents, co-workers who can stand with them. He saw that while a small percentage of the population identifies as LGBTQ+, the vast majority of people can be allies, and that their voices are desperately needed to turn the tide. This realization was his true inciting incident. It was the moment he decided to step out from the safety of his privilege and into the arena. He admitted he used to be scared of being judged, but he realized that his passion for allyship literally saves lives. He decided he just didn't care anymore what other people thought. The fear didn't just disappear, but his purpose grew bigger than his fear. The quiet, protective brother had found his roar, and he was ready to use it. With this new sense of purpose, Sander Jennings began a deliberate and powerful transformation. He didn't just talk the talk. He put in the work, using The very platform he once shied away from to become a major force for education and change. His evolution from quiet supporter to loud and proud advocate was defined by real action, smart strategy, and a willingness to have the tough conversations. Professionally, Sander got himself the right tools. He earned a master's degree in mass communication with a focus on digital strategy. This wasn't just for a diploma, it was a strategic move. He knew the battle for hearts and minds was being fought on social media, and he wanted to be effective. He launched his own digital marketing agency, DigiEmpower, with a mission to help nonprofits and value-driven businesses get their message out and make a real impact. This professional skill set became the engine for his advocacy. He started working with organizations like Stand with Trans, helping them sharpen their social media strategies to reach more people. He knew there were powerful stories out there, but if nobody saw them, the impact was limited. He put his marketing brain to work for the cause, focusing on short-form videos and authentic storytelling to grow their online presence and connect with a new generation of allies. He wasn't just lending his name, he was contributing his skills, working to build the infrastructure of change. His own social media, once a source of anxiety, became his classroom. With over 1 million followers on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, he started creating content with a clear goal. He posted videos breaking down complex topics like why using correct pronouns is so important, or why it's not a trans person's job to disclose their identity to anyone. He teamed up with other activists to boost their voices. In one powerful video, he and Skylar Balar, a transgender advocate, directly addressed hateful comments, not with anger, but with calm, logical explanations. How Sander deals with hate is maybe the most telling part of his journey. Where he once feared judgment, he now meets it head-on. He directly responds to trolls who leave cruel comments about his sister, not to get into a pointless fight, but to publicly dismantle their ignorance. When one user bullied his family, Sander called them out, writing, "It's not right. Spread love instead of hate." He started seeing the hate he received as a badge of honor. He acknowledged that people questioned his own sexuality to try and hurt him, but he flipped the script. He realized their accusations didn't matter because, first, it's nobody's business, and second, being gay wouldn't be a bad thing anyway. That confidence helped him shed the last of his fear. He also got incredibly vulnerable, sharing his own learning process. He openly admitted that allyship is a journey and that he's made mistakes, but he's committed to listening, learning, and growing. This humility made his message even stronger. He wasn't acting like some perfect, all-knowing expert, but like a regular person on a path of growth. He showed people that you don't have to have all the answers to be an ally. You just have to be willing to learn and show up. Through it all, his message has stayed consistent and clear. He repeatedly says that allyship is an active, 365-day-a-year commitment, not just something for Pride Month. He champions the statistic that one accepting adult can reduce the risk of suicide for an LGBTQ+ young person by over 40%, framing allyship, not as a political stance, but as a life-saving act. The transformation was complete. The quiet brother in the background had stepped into the spotlight, not to take it from his sister, but to stand right beside her, using his own unique voice and skills to fight the same fight. So let's go back. To that title, Sander Jennings finally tells the truth about his sister Jazz Jennings. The hook, promising a juicy scandal, pulls you in. It sets you up for the kind of family drama that's become a staple of pop culture. But the real truth, the one Sander has been revealing bit by bit, is something far more radical. The truth was never about Jazz. There was no secret to expose about her. The truth was about him. The revelation was his own. His journey was the story that was waiting to be told. The world expected conflict, but Sander gave them a story about inspiration. The world wanted resentment, but he spoke about admiration. This is the ultimate plot twist. Sander's truth wasn't a weapon to create drama, but a mirror reflecting his own growth. By admitting his sister was his greatest inspiration, he was also admitting that for years he hadn't been the ally he could have been. By talking about his past fears, he was holding himself accountable and showing others that it's okay to not start out perfectly. This completely redefines what a tell-all is. A tell-all is usually about tearing someone down. Sanders' truth was an act of building up his sister, building up her cause, and building up a new idea of what it means to be a family. The Jennings family has always been a united front, but Sanders' evolution added a powerful new layer to that unity. It showed that their support for each other wasn't just a fact. It was a living, breathing thing that could grow and get deeper over time. His story gives us a powerful and much-needed roadmap for allyship. It throws out the idea that you have to be perfect from day one. Sanders' journey proves that allyship isn't a destination, it's a process. It starts with love, moves through learning, and ends in action. He showed that it's okay to be scared, but it's not okay to let fear keep you silent. His journey gives permission to countless others, siblings, parents, friends, to start their own. It tells them their voices matter and their support can be a lifeline. On top of all that, Sanders' journey challenged the idea that his identity was just Jazz's brother. While he's proud of that title, he's also carved out his own path as an advocate, a digital strategist, and a leader. He proved that supporting someone doesn't mean you lose yourself. In fact, for Sanders, supporting Jazz was the very thing that helped him find his most authentic self and his life's purpose. He discovered his passion was helping people, and his sister's journey gave him the clearest possible mission. The real truth is that the bond between Sanders and Jazz isn't just about being family, it's about a shared mission. They inspire each other. He's moved by her courage, and she's moved by his unwavering and now very vocal support. Their relationship is a dynamic partnership. That's the story that matters. It's not the scandalous headline we were baited with, but the quiet, powerful reality of a family bound by love and a shared goal to make the world a more accepting place. The most shocking revelation was that there was no shock, just a powerful story of love in action. If this story of transformation and allyship connects with you, if you believe in using your voice to support the people you love, then consider subscribing and joining our community. This is a place for these kinds of conversations, the ones that go beyond the headlines and get into the real human stories that can actually create change. Click that notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. In the end, what Sanders Jennings finally told the truth about was courage itself. He showed us that courage isn't just being the person in the spotlight, facing down the world. Courage is also being the person standing just off to the side, who, after years of watching and learning, decides to step forward and say, "Your fight is my fight." He blew up the public's cynical expectation of family drama and replaced it with a testament to growth. His journey from a quiet, protective brother to a vocal, strategic advocate is more than a personal story. It's a masterclass in modern allyship. He owned up to his early fears, not as a weakness, but to show what authentic growth looks like. He showed the world that you don't need to be perfect to be a powerful ally. You just need to be present, willing to learn, and brave enough to let your love be louder than your fear. Sanders' story is a profound reminder that the biggest transformations often happen not in a fiery explosion, but in the quiet, steady dawn of understanding. The real headline was never a hidden family secret. It was a heartfelt affirmation. Watching someone you love live their truest life can inspire you to find the courage to do the same. The truth, as it turns out, wasn't a scandal. It was a love story.